Hello and welcome. You're watching Behind the Ballot. I'm Karan Thapar. Tonight we present the grand finale of the CSDS-Lokniti-The TV poll. Over the next hour and a half, we're going to give you the information you've been waiting for about the likely vote share of the main parties, as well as how many seats they could win. Remember, this is not a prediction of what would happen on the 23rd of May. It is, in fact, a reflection of what would have happened if the country had voted at the end of March when this poll was done. My guests are Congress spokesperson Abhishek Singhvi. In part 2, he will be replaced by his colleague Priyanka Chaturvedi. I also have the well-known BJP supporter Desh Ratan Nigam, the General Secretary of the JDU KC Tyagi, who should be joining us shortly, and Samajwadi Party spokesperson Ghanshyam Tiwari. The analysts with us tonight are the Director of the Center for the Study of Developing Societies, Sanjay Kumar, the well-known author and columnist Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, and the editor of the Wire.in, Siddharth Varadarajan, who will also be joining us shortly. But first, my colleague Simi Pasha presents the vote shares of the top political parties and what that indicates about the way India is likely to vote.
Thanks, Karan. Here are the findings. We began by asking respondents which parties would they vote for if they were to vote on the day of the survey. 35% respondents said that they would vote for the BJP, which is a significant 4% higher than 2014. Similarly, the Congress's vote share is also likely to see a spike of 4%. 23% respondents said that they will vote for the Congress party as opposed to 19.3% in 2014. BJP's allies are likely to get 6% vote share. Congress's allies are likely to get 7%. BSP and its allies minus the Samajwadi Party are likely to bag 9% votes. Left is likely to get 3% votes and others are likely to get 17%.
Sanjay Kumar, let's pick up on one of the points Simi made in that presentation. Compared to their vote shares in 2014, both BJP and Congress have gone up by 4% each. Doesn't that mean that the popularity of the two parties has improved equally?
Yes, the vote share clearly indicates that popularity of two parties have increased equally. But let's not forget, if we are looking at a national contest, in the national electoral contest, BJP is seen as, there is a contest between Congress and BJP. So in the national vote share, if we go state by state, we would see different pattern. But at the national level, yes, there is a clear indication that people are either willing to vote for Congress or for BJP, and we see vote share of both BJP and increasing by 4% compared to 2014.
Is it unusual that they both increased by 4%? Is it just a coincidence?
No, it's not. It's not unusual. It can increase. There are elections which are polarized in favor of or against a party. This is an election at the national level. It seems BJP could be opposed by Congress, and there is a direct. At the national level, it's a fight between Congress and BJP.
Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, you get a slightly different picture when you compare the vote share today with the vote share that existed in May 2018, a year ago. Right. BJP's vote share since May 2018 has gone up by 3%. Congress's since May 2018 has fallen by 2%. Does that suggest that BJP reached its nadir last year and is pulling out of it? Congress may have peaked last year and is now sliding down.
Pulling out, I do not know that whether it will be able to pull out completely from its nadir, But if you actually try to understand that, why has it been able to recover? I think, May 2018 would not be the point when it touched its lowest. Touches the lowest, if you actually track each of the polls, would possibly sometime around January till about the middle of February 2019. I think the turning point has been Pulwama and Balakot. Thereafter, the Congress has come back. Mind you, these surveys have been conducted before any of the manifestos have been released, which includes the Congress trying to put back economic issues on the electoral narrative.
You're right when you say the surveys were conducted before the manifestos were released, but the survey was conducted when Nyaya was released. Nyaya was released officially by Rahul, if you recall, on the 25th. The survey began on the 25th or 24th.
Right.
So the first week of Nyaya is the first week of the survey.
It's kind of.
But yes, I take your point. We need to see what impact Nyaya will have.
I am not very certain whether the boost which the BJP has got of bringing populist nationalism back on the agenda because of Balakot, whether it will be sustained right up till the 19th of May, I am not very certain about it.
Let me put it like this, Nigam. The vote share trend suggests that the BJP's popularity is rising. That's clearly good news for your party. We've gone up from 32 in May last year to 35 now. Do you expect this to accelerate now that you've announced your manifesto?
See, after going through the manifesto and also knowing Mr. Modi's style of campaigning, and he has always excelled slowly and built up the momentum. If you look at 2014 also, and this one also, the momentum has just started about his campaigning. So their entire campaigning revolves around Mr. Modi and his policies. So I think this will go up further.
And the manifesto will help it
The
considerably.
manifesto should help.
Abhishek Singhvi, in a sense, I'm going to put the opposite question to you. In your case, the vote share trend suggests you're gently sliding, and clearly your hopes lie in the Nyay scheme to reverse that slide and then perhaps to build up again.
Karan, I want to make 3 or 4 points by starting with a disclaimer. We all have to be careful about these surveys, the poll size, and therefore that's a general disclaimer. I have nothing to say, it's your survey. I can't dispute it, but generally surveys have, as you know, historically been wide of the mark, and we certainly don't base ourselves on that. But there are 3 important points having said that preliminary threshold disclaimer. One, as is pointed out, the law of diminishing returns on the repetitive exploitation, cheap crude exploitation of Pulwama and Balakot, the law of diminishing returns has fully set in now, and therefore a poll earlier, I think that benefit the BJP certainly would not have as the days go by. And second, it's a double whammy, Karan, because not only have you taken it at a peak of the Pulwama Balakot possible misleading jingoism kind of a exploitation, but also before the full impact and look of our manifesto with Nyay as the centerpiece. You are right, it was the first week, but as you know well, Nyay has now become solidified. You've had interviews, including your own channel, very specific. You've had Chidambaramji, you've had Rahul Gandhi speaking in detail. It's now solidified in the people's mind. So I think the double effect is one reason why they should be pulled down twice. And third and last, I think it is strange to find on common sense that with a Modi wave, I'm making a general commonsensical point, with a Modi wave in 2014 acknowledged by all of us, the BJP in this survey is showing higher, where clearly, despite Pulwama and Balakot, which is now going to be diminished, there cannot be said to be a Modi wave by anybody.
Well, I don't
so I find that anachronistic, anomalous.
Very quickly, let me bring in Sanjay Kumar, who is an author of the survey. Is a rise of 4% tantamount to a Modi wave?
I won't say it is an indication of Modi wave. I agree that the kind of Modi wave which we saw in 2014 is not in 2019. But remember, in 2014, the Modi wave was concentrated in the Hindi heartland states. So even with 31% vote, BJP managed to win 282 seats. When we come to the seats, this 35% vote is spread out much wider. So there will be
the index of opposition unity is greater.
So in states
the
like
seats may be
Kerala,
less. But
Tamil
let's
Nadu,
not give away the seats at this point.
No,
Let's
I'm not talking
suspense
about
continue. Let me, before I come to Ghanshyam Tiwari, put one more question to you, Abhishek Singhvi. Are you disappointed that in the 5 years from 2014 to today, Congress's vote share has only grown by 4%? And if I'm absolutely accurate, it's actually grown not by 4 but by 3.7%. We've rounded it up to 4, but it's actually only grown by 3.7% in 5 years. Does that disappoint you?
Of course I'm disappointed. Obviously subject to the premise that I believe your survey to be accurate, which I don't. But yes, on that premise, I am disappointed. And I also would like to add that when the last speaker mentioned more scattered, remember we're talking of vote share.
yes.
A concentrated vote share of 31%, which gets you 283 seats, and a different vote share of 35% scattered may mean far fewer seats. I think that's another point we're missing out.
And remember,
So I
that
don't know
could
how
turn
this
out to
works
be the
in your
case when we
particular
come
survey.
to part
But that's
2,
an
but I don't
important-
want to jump the story. Let's wait till part 2 when we will reveal what our poll says will be the actual seat shares of the different parties, and then you'll know whether your assumption and logic is correct or false. So let's wait there. But let me bring in Ghanshyam Tiwari. I want to focus specifically on the UP vote share, and I hope my producer will put it up on the screen. There it is, it's up there on the screen. The Gathbandhan and the BJP have the same vote share of 44%. But my question is, had you included the Congress in your alliance, your vote share would have increased by 10% to 54. Well, now, can you accept it was a mistake to leave Congress out?
The answer is who knows. The election is right in front of us. The parties have released their manifesto. The leaders have campaigned, they have set the agenda, and the first phase of polling is right here in Uttar Pradesh. And we are very, very confident that in Uttar Pradesh, the Gathbandhan as it stands is going to rout Bharatiya Janata Party out. They are, there's old proverb, you don't change your horses midstream. That is exactly what BJP has done throughout the last 3 months. Can I give you an example where, in fact, the possibility of Congress competing alongside you could actually diminish you and give the advantage to the BJP? The case is Saharanpur. Congress has put up a strong Muslim candidate, Imran Masood. BSP has put up Haji Fazlur Rahman, who's considered to be another strong Muslim candidate. They're going to clearly split the Muslim vote between them. And Muslims together represent something like 40-45% of Saharanpur. In that case, Lakhanpal, the BJP candidate, will squeak through. This is a single illustration of the point I'm making. Karan, our campaign slogan, one of our key campaign slogans is, vote nahi batne denge, vote nahi ghatne denge. We have gone on the street to say that everyone who feels disappointed with Bharatiya Janata Party and feels angry and cheated, we want you to unite and vote for the Mahagathbandhan. We are mindful of the challenges it creates, but we are confident of the opportunities that people present to us in terms of representing them.
Statistically speaking, if they had included Congress, how many more seats could they have ended up winning? Percentage terms, more seats?
Oh, maybe 20% more seats. I think if Congress was also an ally of the Mahagathbandhan, BJP would have been in a very big difficulty in Uttar Pradesh.
Do you think when they sit back and analyze what they've done, they will feel that they made a mistake putting up candidates in UP? Because they plan to put up candidates in 73 out of the 80 seats, which means in every single one of those 73 seats, the danger of them splitting the anti-BJP vote grows.
You know, I think there was basically the problem was that both the Congress, SP, BSP, they kept saying that defeating BJP is their primary objective in these elections. But they kept talking about 2022, 2024, which means that they ended up, undercutting each other. So they were not, looking at the BJP as the primary, force to be defeated. But they were trying to emerge as the biggest or the strongest challenger to the BJP.
Can I put that to you, Abhishek, and then I'll come to Desh, Ratan, Nigam. What you've heard from Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay is a question I've put to you earlier as well. That in the case of UP, but this may be true of a lot of other states, you've attempted to ride two horses together, but they're pulling in different directions. One horse is an attempt to try and ensure Mr. Modi doesn't win the maximum number of seats in UP. The other is an attempt to ensure you win as many as you can. And you've fallen between these two horses pulling in different directions.
There is no doubt that you are partially right, Karan, that not having Congress in a larger combination is negative and counterproductive. But equally, my conscience is clear, as is known to everybody in this country. The Congress bent over backwards for an alliance in UP. Let me tell you that there has never been so much give and no take. If some people, and I'm using my words carefully, in the other UP-based alliance, some, I didn't say all, are obstinate, unyielding and rigid, then no alliance can be made without or with zero self-respect.
Okay. Ghanshyam Tiwari was smiling
went for
when you
alone
said,
only after, just half a second more. It went for this only after it found that there was utter misplaced ego and non-yielding. And once we fight, Karan, we don't fight to lose.
Okay,
you can't have a half-hearted fight.
Very
so
quickly
the blame,
on that,
if it does to the extent we lies
Abhishek,
squarely at one door.
Allow Ghanshyam to reply. Allow Ghanshyam to reply. The word that I remember is obstinate. I think he was using it with Mayawati in mind. Is your ally unyielding and obstinate?
Well, I was smiling at
ego too. The word ego too.
And ego as well.
Well, I was smiling at the cautious but brilliant oratory But I think, as I said, that my stand is very clear. This election is out of the studio of alliances and in the playfield of people. And when it is out there and there are three contenders, the party that sets the agenda, has the leader, finds the cadre and resonates with the people is going to win. And we are focused on just one mission, and that is that. I think the analysis of the alliance can happen, but it is that analysis need not happen right now when the election is happening.
You know, Desh, Nigam, you heard Sanjay Kumar say that by not allying, Congress has effectively given you a 20% margin that you didn't deserve and shouldn't have got in UP. Are you grateful to Congress for the fact that they were so demanding in the number of seats they wanted that no one was prepared to grant them that concession in UP?
I think it's not about mathematics that you just add and subtract here and there. Look at the 44%, despite the formidable Gathbandhan that the SP and BSP have. The vote share is 44%, which is substantial and huge, and which you never know which side it may reflect. The number of seats may also go very high, and it may, maybe if it is concentrated in some region, it may go down. I agree. But the fact.
So you're seeing the silver lining and you're ignoring the cloud in between.
No, I'm not. I'm saying there is the vote share. I'm only going. Okay. I cannot predict the seats, but the vote share is very clearly intact. And everybody said that Mahagathbandhan would wash away everything and there'll be a flood and tsunami. It's not reflected in the vote share.
No, in the 20% thing, I didn't suggest that the vote share of BJP can come down by 20%. Vote share of BJP will remain where is it? It is at the moment, our assessment. But I said the seat share could go down by 20-25% if we look at how many seats BJP is likely to win in a three-way contest.
Very quickly.
10 seconds.
Yeah, please.
You know, this was a strategic decision on behalf of the SP and BSP. If you look at the elections, the early elections, the SP suffered on account of alliance with the Congress, and similarly RJD in Bihar also suffered. So they were very conscious of the fact that they are not going to align, both the parties, I'm sure. Okay. They may say something else on the TV channel, but it was a question of their own vote banks. They should remain intact.
Karan, last autumn, after prospects of a Mahagathbandhan in UP began to be talked about, we started doing a calculation based on the 2017 assembly elections, and we felt that, adding up the votes as to how the picture looked. I remember, even Sanjay is here, a lot of us did the exercise. There was a debate within the media, we did a debate that saying that if the SP, BSP, Congress and RLD come together, there is a possibility of the BJP getting decimated, and there were actually projections of around 7 to 12 seats.
Can I interrupt at that point? How much do you blame Congress for demanding a number of seats that clearly neither SP nor BSP could have conceded?
No, I don't think that you can look at the Lok Sabha elections in isolation. You have to link it with what happened in the failed negotiations during the assembly elections in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan.
So there's a history. There's a history.
Mayawati, Mayawati spoke the same language which I heard Abhishek Singhvi say, that there has to be some basic respect when negotiating.
Okay.
So she kept saying, if there is a respectful number that they will offer to us, then we'll accept the alliance.
I don't want to be dominated by UP. There are a couple of other states that I want to bring up the vote shares of, because I think they're very important. And I'm going to have to sadly take up Bihar with you because we don't have KC Tyagi. I believe he's in a meeting with Nitish Kumar. They are deciding on their party manifesto, and obviously that's more important than appearing on TV channels. But would my producer please put the Bihar vote share up? There it is. It's on the screen. Now that's a very interesting one, because you'll see that in vote share terms, BJP JDU have a huge lead over RJD. I mean, it's literally 53% to 39%. That's a lead of 14%. Does that surprise you?
Well, it doesn't. I worked in Bihar with Nitish Kumarji for 5 years, and I can say with my political acumen developed in Bihar that arithmetically it may appear that NDA is has an edge. But when you look at the...
What do you mean may appear? It's pretty crystal clear.
It is, yes. So it appears, okay? It appears that NDA has an edge. But when you look at the narrative is so strong that the JDU-BJP alliance, I believe, is not going to be able to face once the election comes up. Bihar is not evenly distributed in terms of its social chemistry.
But hang on a second. Are you saying the Batcheet at the hustings is more important than the arithmetic of the alliance?
Yes, because Bihar is 90% rural. And in that context, what sets the narrative in the fields, at the hustings, is far more important. And today, the absence of Lalu Yadavji and the politics of Lalu Yadavji is still the cornerstone of Bihar election in Lok Sabha.
Does this suggest, Sanjay Kumar, those figures up on the screen, 53 to 39, that Nitish Kumar and Modi are sweeping Bihar?
Yes, I have no doubt that Nitish Kumar and Modi are sweeping Bihar. They would have a huge lead over Mahagathbandhan in Bihar.
Who gets the credit for this? Nitish Kumar, who considers himself the bigger brother in Bihar, or Modi, who's clearly the leader of the NDA nationally?
I think it's a combination of both. One,
What a diplomat you are.
No, I'm not.
What a diplomat.
When you go on the ground, when you go on the ground, you see both Nitish Kumar and Modi are very popular there. So therefore, it's a combination. 53% is a huge vote share that you're giving them.
Absolutely,
And
but you're not going to stick your neck out and say that one is more responsible than the other. One takes the greater share
See,
of the credit.
Bihar has a different permutation and combination.
You wanted to interpret?
Yes. So, see, one fundamental difference between Uttar Pradesh and Bihar is in Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath is supremely unpopular because of his inaction. In Bihar, Nitish Kumar ji has a track record of good governance. Notwithstanding recent failures, that track record exists. So he's able to withhold the narrative that is there, which is about social justice and Lalu.
So in your eyes, the credit goes to Nitish, not to Modi?
The promises of Mr. Modi don't keep up in Bihar. His last elections in Bihar, BJP was defeated massively. But I still believe that you will see a much more even verdict in Bihar than what the survey is saying.
Let me come back to you, Abhishek Singhvi. Now, this is a particularly disappointing result for Congress and for your ally RJD. Just look at it. The BJP JDU vote share is 53% compared to your 39%. That is a huge margin of 14.
Karan, there is no doubt that if your survey is correct, this is very disheartening and it's an unbridgeable gap. But I tell you, if one area you are grievously wrong, is going to be Bihar. Just the other day, there were ground reports of our internal survey. One of the factors was a huge amount of angst at the way Lalu Prasad has been discriminatorily treated. In fact, I'll share with you a whole group which went down and was part of the survey, who were politicians who know about the survey, said that people know down to this how 3 months or 4 months before Nitish Kumar broke the Gathbandhan, people are convinced that there was a clear conspiracy between Nitish Kumar and BJP, that you first start the cases, start the raids. Lalu, remember, was raided even for a rally he held, which I have not heard in 72 years, except in one case.
But how does any of that explain this vote share?
You will break. And that angst will translate into a vote, especially against Mr. Modi and Mr. Nitish Kumar, which I don't think your survey has captured.
You put up your hand.
Apart from that, Tejasvi, let me tell you, is doing extremely well. Extremely well.
Well, it ain't showing in the figures.
All the reports are to the contrary of your survey. All the reports are to the contrary of what your survey is showing.
He is doing to the extent,
I agree.
Tejasvi is doing well to the extent of holding
on
to its vote share, which is about 23% vote share.
But it's not sufficient to be able to win the majority of the seats. You wanted to come in.
I think you will be shown most wrong in this survey in Bihar.
I
Go
just
ahead.
want to, on Bihar, now the same thing is happening to me, what you had said, that I am being pulled in two different directions. On the one hand, you have the survey data, which is possibly from one of the most authentic and the most respected survey agency that we can think of in this country, most respected. But on the other hand, I'm also looking at the reports which have been coming to me from the ground, from my sources, from political contacts, from other people who are actually going and traveling deep into the areas. We are getting completely different pictures. Also the fact that in 2014 and 2015, both the elections, the vote shares cannot be really added up because they fought on different planks. In 2014, the JDU was on its own. In 2015, it was along with the RJD and the Congress on an anti-BJP platform. So the votes that Nitish Kumar got in 2015
can I interrupt you there? We're not comparing vote shares between 14 and 19. We're simply talking of the vote share in 19 itself, 219.
What I'm saying is that
even if we are making a projection of 2014, we are very careful about that.
I'm telling you that I'm being pulled in two different directions. I cannot actually disbelieve either the survey data or what I'm listening from the ground. So I think that this wide vote difference cannot simply exist.
Well, it does exist as far as the findings of this poll are concerned. You may doubt it, but it does exist. How much heart do you take from this vote share split, which is so decidedly in your favor and Nitish's favor?
Let us presume there is a margin of 4% error. Even then, it is 49%. And
even then, it's a 10% difference.
Yes, which is very hard to bridge. certainly let me tell you, other surveys which I have attended in various other channels exactly project the same, almost the same about Bihar.
Do you want to say something?
The Nilanjan's dilemma will be the same in every survey. I think both Nilanjan and I agree that our political, and Dr. Singhvi was also saying that our political acumen, the stories from the ground say that the image of that surveys are presenting and the spirit that people are demonstrating are two different pictures.
That dilemma will only exist, I presume, when the survey suggests an outcome that you don't agree with. When the survey suggests an outcome you do, that dilemma will disappear.
Not about agreeing. It's something that you cannot explain. That is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, let's move to another statement. Once again, I'm afraid, Abhishek Singhvi, the result is not going to be pleasing to you. This is the vote share that we have from both Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. And it's a very interesting one. It will be coming up on the screen. There it is in front of you. The vote shares in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh suggest that BJP is ahead of Congress by very sizable margins. BJP is ahead of Congress in Rajasthan by 10%. It's ahead of Congress in Madhya Pradesh by 6%. Given that just 3.5 months ago, when the state elections were held, your vote shares were virtually the same, how disappointing is it that the BJP now is 10% ahead of you in Rajasthan and 6% ahead of you in Madhya Pradesh? Yes, Abhishek, that is for you.
Yeah, yes. 15 seconds for Bihar, which I forgot to mention. On the ground, the JDU and the BJP cadres is another human factor which I think your survey ignores. They are completely incompatible. They are actually philosophically and on the ground opposite. Their views about minorities and communities XYZ versus ABC are different. That's another reason why we've received survey reports that the two cannot work properly on the ground.
Okay.
Coming to Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, Karan, with greatest respect, I have only one word: bizarre. Rajasthan is my own state. First, I have yet to come across a 10% vote difference and a 6% vote difference in virtually any election, where parliamentary election, which is preceded by the results which you found a month or 2 or 3 months ago in the same states in the assembly elections. There is a remarkable parallel or pattern which is similar, not so North Pole, South Pole divergent. It cannot be. Tell me a single instance where this happened with this divergence. Yes, I can understand 1-2% difference, narrow things. So you win a state election and then you have a divergence. It is bizarre. Number two, in Rajasthan, actually Congress, the BJP is on a very major back foot, because so many social welfare schemes have come, and the image of the previous chief minister as a very corporate, arrogant, as opposed to the absolute opposite image of the current chief minister, who is a man of the masses, is doing wonders. In my own Jodhpur division, as they call it, which is 5 desert districts of western Rajasthan, you have to, I don't know how much your surveys covered them, you have to go and see that, which is one of the reasons why we do a tough bargain with both SP and BSP, because the only name is Congress, and to the extent the fight will be with the BJP.
Abhishek, I allowed you a very long answer. I allowed you a very long answer because clearly when this issue of Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan are being discussed, you have your back against the wall. But let me put one bit of your answer to Sanjay Kumar, who is the author of the survey in a sense. Is this vote share difference of 10% in Rajasthan and 6% in Madhya Pradesh bizarre? In fact, he didn't say it, but he was suggesting it's unbelievable.
It doesn't look to me as unbelievable, and the two reasons. One, we have done the survey right now, but even when at the time of assembly election, when we were doing the polls for assembly elections in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, people had a split opinion. When we asked the question about which party you are likely to vote for assembly election, the vote share which we got in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, it is on record, we got it almost right, almost correct. But in the same survey, when we asked this question about which party you are likely to vote for the Lok Sabha, there was a huge preference for BJP, Narendra Modi, even at that time. He mentioned about anger against the Chief Minister Vasundhara Raje Scindia. I think they have already vented their anger. This election, people in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh are not voting for state government. There is a clear vote. This is a clear vote. Their preference is for the central government, voting for the central government.
Siddharth Varadarajan, I'm delighted you've been able to join us. We're talking about the fact that after the vote shares being almost identical at the state level in December in both Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, our survey now shows that in Rajasthan, BJP is 10% ahead of Congress, and in Madhya Pradesh, BJP is 6%. Do you think that could be either because the voters over the last 3.5 months have been disillusioned with the performance of the Kamal Nath and Gehlot governments, and therefore they're getting a bit wary of Congress? Or could it be because this Lok Sabha election is to get Modi re-elected, and Modi's popularity is pushing up the popularity of his party? Which of the two do you think it is?
I mean, I don't want to comment on the accuracy of the numbers, but I think from a theoretical point of view, there is no reason whatsoever to imagine that just because you had a state election result of a certain kind, the survey for Lok Sabha will be identical. It can be different. People have different choices. People look at these elections differently. The classic split ticket. So 3 months later, if people are expressing a preference for the BJP in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, I don't think it's a comment on the state government there. It's essentially their reading.
It's a comment on Modi's popularity.
Well, if the survey is correct, it's a reading of their choice between Congress and BJP.
Yeah. And something similar, if memory serves me correct, and I may be a little inaccurate about the years, happened in the 80s in Karnataka, where Rajiv Gandhi swept the state for the Lok Sabha, and a few months later, the state government, which was, I think, JDU, won it back. Right? Yeah. And so it's quite possible it could happen here. Do you want to comment on that? This has happened before. It's not unusual, Abhishek Singhvi. And the example of Karnataka in the 80s is the one that I'm quoting. Therefore, do you want to say to yourself that maybe it's Mr. Modi's popularity that is propelling the vote share in the direction of the BJP in such sizable percentages?
No. Karan, I will send you, I can't place the date. There is an analysis of this done. Exactly the point you are making. The reverse is true. When a state election is followed by a parliamentary election, the trend is the same. That is what that survey says.
I'll tell you.
You are giving a reverse example.
I'll tell you what it could be, because the truth is, let me finish, because this will be to your advantage. The truth is that if you look at what happened in 2003, 2008 and 2013 in those two states, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, you will discover that the state that won the party that won the state election went on overwhelmingly to win the Lok Sabha election as well, with the solitary exception of Madhya Pradesh, with the solitary exception of Madhya Pradesh in 2008. That was the only time the BJP didn't go on to overwhelmingly win at the Lok Sabha. So that, in a sense, does tell against our findings, doesn't it?
There are always ifs and buts. There are always possibilities, and we have already reminded the viewer that this is an estimation in the last week of March. We are not saying that this is the prediction for 2023. And
how the campaign pans out could change vote shares very significantly. Before I come to you, Nilanjan, because I saw your hand go up, I want to put something else to you, Mr. Nigam. Undoubtedly, you're taking a lot of satisfaction from the way the vote shares stand in 2019. But if you compare the 2019 vote share in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan to the vote share in 2014, a fairly significantly different picture emerges. Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan saw the BJP vote share between 2014 and 2019 fall by nearly 5% in Madhya Pradesh and nearly 6% in Rajasthan. During that same period, Congress's vote share has risen by nearly 9% in Madhya Pradesh and nearly 10% in Rajasthan. So if you compare 2014 to 19, it's a very different picture. And that leads me to the belief that you're not going to sweep, you're not going to decimate Congress this time around. Congress will win seats, but it will not be a repeat of the result of 2014 for you.
See, let me tell you, all the surveys in the recent assembly elections that we had, everywhere people had a verdict for 2019. They said they will, in 2019, they'll vote for Mr. Modi. 70% of the people had said, in almost all the surveys cutting across the board, including CSDS survey. There's one uniformity there. So you cannot belie that uniformity. That all the surveys, irrespective of who has done it, they said 2019 we'll vote for Mr. Modi. Here there are differences. Here we have anti-incumbency. Here we don't like a particular chief minister.
I don't deny that perhaps all the surveys are suggesting that more people will vote in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh for BJP than they will vote for Congress. What I'm saying is that in absolute terms, that number has converged closer. The vote share between 2014 and 19 for BJP has shrunk. the vote share between 2014 and 19 for Congress has grown. Therefore, you can't win 25 out of 25 in Rajasthan. You can't win 27 out of 29 in Madhya Pradesh. It will be a more even result.
Let me tell you, the margins that time were huge. They may reduce, but still they'll sweep the elections.
You wanted to say something?
I don't find, have any problems with the survey. What I have a problem with the explanation which Sanjay Kumar was giving, that possibly the reason for this reversal of vote share between the assembly election now is that the past is over. It is no longer a local, an anger against the local chief minister in both Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, but basically it's a vote for Modi. So which means that what Arun Jaitley or other BJP leaders are saying, that this election is essentially a referendum for Modi. If it is actually a referendum for Modi in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, why is it not in other states? I can't understand. It cannot be that you have a referendum.
Well, hang on a second.
Well,
no, just a moment. It is reflected in the vote share split in Bihar. We've just discussed Bihar fairly extensively. It's, remember, 53 to 39, right? And in a sense, it's contained only by the arithmetic in UP, because there is 44-44.
Vote share of BJP is not coming down in UP
right.
compared
Theirs
to 2014.
has gone up. So, by the way, I'm not sure that point really holds, but let me come to the end of this section. I then want to take a break and come back with something we're all waiting for. How many seats will the parties win? But before I take that break, I want to put something to you. To what extent, Sanjay, does Congress's hopes depend on making people aware of Nyay and then convincing them that they should vote for Nyay? To what extent are those two things, making people aware and convincing them it's a good thing, critical for Congress?
I think in one of our previous shows, we did indicate that awareness is reasonably high. 50% people have already heard about this. So I think this goes to the advantage of Congress. They should try and popularize this scheme, make more people aware of this. And also the difficult task is to make them convinced that if they come to power, they are going to make this happen.
I'll come to you in a moment's time, but I want to quickly put a question to Siddharth Varadarajan. From the start, the party has made about making people aware of Nyay and convincing them it's a good idea. And remember, that start was the 25th of March when Rahul held that press conference. From that start, have they made a good effort of making people aware? Do you think from that start you get the feeling that they can actually succeed in the remaining 6 weeks to make this a buzzing message for the country?
Well, the party's messaging on Nyay has been confused, at least about the details of it, right? What Rahul Gandhi said, what was elaborated later, what's in the manifesto, are quite different. That said, it's clear that Nyay, the concept of Nyay, basic income, and in the design that the Congress party has proposed it, is vastly an improved version over PM Kisan or any of the other schemes that the Prime Minister has come up with. So I think the Congress has a strong hand on this issue.
If they can play it properly.
If they can play it properly. And the fact is that both your survey appears to be showing a swing against the BJP in many states. So.
All right, we've lost Abhishek Singhvi at that particular point. It would have been wonderful to put that question to him. Abhishek, you're there, so let me put that. You've just heard Siddharth Varadarajan say you have a very strong hand in Nyay, but you're playing it poorly, and he wonders whether in the remaining weeks of this campaign, before the counting starts, whether you can convince people about Nyay, because your fortune depends critically on just that.
Let me tell you, literally the Congress hand is in Nyay. Our symbol is hand, our slogan is Nyay, and it is very, very fiercely and vigorously been done. Our theme song, our jingle, our manifesto, our visual campaign, just 1 day, 2 days, 3 days ago released, you are finding it everywhere. More than that one cannot do, but you will see it unfolding in the next 30 days. There's a long time left. Secondly, one sentence before I leave, Karan, I think the really exciting bit is part 2. I am not at all sure if you're not doing an unreal job looking at vote shares. Vote shares and seats are two different things in the Westminster model. So I think you yourself might have surprises. I don't know your survey at all in part 2.
Well, it's a great shame that you can't stay
otherwise.
with us to see it. I hope your colleague Priyanka Chaturvedi will be joining us because she's promised to do just that. But if you watch the program later tonight when it's repeated, you'll discover precisely how many seats we believe you're going to win. But time for a break, and then the moment you're all waiting for. How many seats will the main parties win, and who is poised to form the next government of India? See you in a moment's time.